The sparrows on your driveway are not afraid of your car. And it's not because they're stupid. It's because they've measured it. They know how fast it moves. Like they know it can't leave the pavement to come after them. They've worked out down to a few inches exactly how close they can let 2 tons of metal get before they bother moving. Watch them next time you pull in, they hop aside, and the second your engine dies, they're back at your tires like nothing happened. That's not a dumb animal that got lucky. That's a calculation. The sparrow standing calmly next to your car has done math on it that most of the human drivers on your street never bother to do. These are birds that have learned to open automatic supermarket doors on purpose. We'll get to that. But first you need to understand what kind of animals are actually standing on your driveway because it's been badly underestimated, probably BIA. The house sparrow is one of the most successful wild animals on the planet. It followed humans out of Europe and the Middle East and spread across nearly every continent, thriving everywhere people build things. Farms, cities, suburbs, parking lots. It didn't adapt to nature, it adapted to us. A house sparrow has basically never lived a single day that wasn't shaped by human activity, and generation after generation that built a bird finely tuned to reading the human-made world, the pavement, the buildings, the traffic, your car. So when it stands its ground next to your bumper, that's not luck. That's the product of a very long apprenticeship in living alongside us. What this little bird has figured out about the machine in your driveway is genuinely strange once you see it laid out. Before we get into it, subscribe, because this is the kind of thing you'll start noticing every single day once you know it's there. Start with the most measurable thing these birds are doing. They calculate the speed of your car and they time their escape to match it. Every animal has what biologists call a flight initiation distance. It's the distance at which it stops tolerating an approaching threat and flees, and it is not a fixed number. It's a constant cost-benefit calculation running in the animal's head. Fleeing burns energy and interrupts feeding, so it doesn't want to flee too early, but fleeing too late gets it killed, so the bird is always solving for one thing, the last safe moment to go. Here's where it gets sharp. Birds living along roads don't base their escape on how close a car is. They base it on how fast it's going and even on the speed limit of the road itself. Research by Legagneux and Ducatez looked at how birds fled from approaching vehicles on roads with different speed limits. The birds flushed earlier on the fast roads and later on the slow ones. They were responding to how fast traffic typically moves on that stretch, not just to the single car in front of them. They had learned the road. Think about what that takes. The bird is estimating your car's speed, projecting where it'll be a second or two from now, factoring in how long its own takeoff takes, and then timing its escape to leave the thinnest possible safety margin. On your slow, predictable driveway, the sparrows have learned they need almost no margin at all. That's the whole reason they barely move. They've measured your car and found it slow, and they learn the rules of specific places. A sparrow in a quiet parking lot behaves completely differently from a sparrow on a fast highway shoulder because the cars behave differently in each spot, and the bird has learned the local pattern for both. Now, the reason they're on your driveway in the first place and why they come straight back the instant you park. To a house sparrow, cars and the places cars gather mean food. This is the core trick of birds that live well around people. They don't just tolerate our infrastructure, they read it as a map of where calories appear. A parking lot to a sparrow is a feeding ground. People drop food, cars carry crumbs, and the grills and bumpers of cars that have driven any distance are genuinely dotted with dead insects, which sparrows have learned to pick off. Drive-throughs, gas stations, any spot where humans and vehicles cluster become predictable hotspots the birds patrol on a regular circuit. Your driveway is one stop on that circuit. The sparrows aren't there for your car itself. They're there because the area where a car parks is, in their accumulated experience, a place where food turns up. Spilled seed, dropped groceries, crumbs, insects, the general productivity of a spot where humans come and go. When you pull in, you're not scaring them off their turf. You're just a recurring event in a feeding spot they decided it was worth watching long before you noticed them. And here's the supermarket thing I promised. House sparrows are famous for learning to trigger automatic doors. They fly up to the motion sensor, set it off, and let themselves into the building to reach the food inside. A bird that can figure out a sensor-activated door has zero trouble learning that your driveway is a buffet and your car is just the thing that occasionally rolls through it. If you've got sparrows that treat your driveway like they own it, I want to hear what they're after. Spilled seed, crumbs, bugs off the car. Tell me in the comments, because the answers people give are always more specific than you'd expect. And the next part is the one that actually changes how you'll see them. So stick with me. Here's the deepest thing the sparrows understand about your car. They've learned it isn't a predator. A real predator is unpredictable. A hawk can change direction. A cat can wait, stalk, and ambush. The thing that makes a living hunter dangerous is exactly that you can't predict it. So a prey animal has to keep a wide, nervous margin around anything that might be hunting it. A car is the opposite. A car is one of the most predictable, large moving objects a bird will ever meet. It stays on the pavement. It moves in straight lines and smooth curves. It can't suddenly lunge sideways onto the grass to grab a sparrow. It doesn't track them, fixate on them, or change its plan because a bird is nearby. And the sparrows have learned all of that. To them, a car is large and loud and fast, but fundamentally harmless. More like a strong wind or a falling branch than like something alive. That's why the same bird that explodes off the ground in pure panic when a cat appears will calmly sidestep a car. The cat is a hunter. The car is weather. The sparrow has filed your car in the correct category, and it's the category of things to be timed and avoided, not feared. There is a cost to that confidence, and it's worth one honest sentence. The same instinct that lets sparrows live so well alongside traffic, treating cars as predictable and cutting the safety margin thin, is part of why birds get hit when a car moves faster or stranger than the pattern they learned. The calculation usually works. When it fails, the thin margin is exactly what gets them. But on your slow driveway, it basically never fails. The sparrows have read the situation correctly. Your car is slow, predictable, and harmless, and it's occasionally attached to food. So they wait it out a few feet away and get straight back to work the moment it stops. So the next time you pull in and the sparrows barely bother to move, look at what's really happening. Those birds have measured the speed of your car and found it slow. They've learned it stays on the pavement and can't come after them. They've filed it correctly under harmless, predictable objects instead of living threats. They've mapped your driveway as a place food reliably shows up, and they folded your daily comings and goings into a foraging routine they were running before you ever paid attention. They're not tolerating your car out of stupidity. They're tolerating it because they understand it. The house sparrow gets dismissed as a drab little nuisance bird, too common to be worth a second look. But the reason it's so common is the most interesting thing about it. It's a small animal that looked at the entire human-built world, all the cars and concrete and noise, and figured out how to read it well enough to thrive right in the middle of it. The sparrow on your driveway isn't surviving in spite of your car. It has simply understood your car a lot better than you've ever understood the sparrow. Here's something to actually try. Next time you park, sit for a second before you get out and just watch how the sparrows react, how close they stay, how fast they come back, where they go to wait. You're watching a calculation happen in real time. Tell me what you notice in the comments and subscribe, because the next video is about something the smallest birds in your yard do every winter that should, by every law of physics, kill them and somehow doesn't. See you there.